from New York. Give me your wallet really means hello. It's Late Night with Dave, a man who enjoys dressing neighborhood pets, Dave.
My name is Dave. I'm the host of the program. Welcome to the show. And now let's turn to the opening remarks, shall we? Members of NATO, they're getting ready now. They're going to have a big meeting in a couple of weeks, and they're going to decide trying to decide what they're going to do now with NATO because the Soviet Union is no longer a threat to the West. So they have to come up with some purpose for their existence. So far, the best idea they've had, they're thinking about now, maybe an annual bake sale. And after that, they're going to maybe like a car wash. I was thumbing through the newspaper earlier today, and I guess yesterday there was an amazing thing happened. Like 2 or 3 cars of a Union Pacific Railroad train. Now these are like freight cars, empty. Thank goodness they were empty. These are runaway freight cars. They're rolling out of control, and they went through like 6 Colorado towns, and they were clocked now at speeds of 78 miles an hour. And this is unbelievable. 3 huge freight cars from a train just out of control blown across Colorado. The most unbelievable aspect of this accident was that Amtrak was not involved in any way. A smattering of applause. I don't know if you folks have been following this or not. I've been hearing about it on the radio. New York Ranger Mark Messier has apparently taken up sort of a friendship on the phone with Madonna. And it's been going on for 2 or 3 weeks, and I understand that today they were actually going to finally get to meet in person. So it's a little exciting. I have a bit of advice for you, Mark, when you meet Madonna. No high sticking. That man was thinking to himself, well, this ain't so bad. I can get through an hour of this. Ladies and gentlemen.
He's one of the top 5 movie stars in the world.
Yeah.
I was trying to put together all 5 of them.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay, Tom Mix would be first. I don't know. Who would be on the list?
Oh, fine. Start it with Tom Mix and then toss it over to me.
And then, you go ahead. I guess Arnie.
You're like the woman in the audience. I had a lovely chat with a lady in the audience before the show began, and she used to be an NBC employee here. Her name is Eileen. Is that Eileen? Eileen? Yeah. Yeah, Eileen. And we had a little conversation about
Eileen or just Eileen?
Yeah, and then there's Tom Mix. And and we had a little conversation. We gave her the car, and then I said, anybody else have a question? And I'm looking around, and Eileen is screaming again. She says, hey, Dave! And I said, what is it, Eileen? And she says, you know, you're on the cover of the Post? No kidding, Eileen. I've been sleeping in the crawl space of my house all day.
So you are on the cover of the Post.
What color makeup do you request when you go in there?
Mocha color.
Is it mocha?
No,
maybe I'll try yours.
Why?
Well, I've been using the boiled ham. How does it look? You know, I don't know if you're like me. As a kid, I was fascinated with broadcasting. I was fascinated with radio, microphones, cameras, lights, cue cards, cable, cameramen like Bailey, band leaders. Everything about broadcasting really kind of grabbed my fancy at an early age. And I was wondering, maybe there are other people in our viewing audience who feel the same way. And I thought tonight, you know, it might be kind of fun. We'll just take the cameras and we'll show little things about the studio. And for budding broadcast students out there, we'll give them a little quiz. What do you think of that, Paul?
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay. Did you tell people what you did last night on the show? I don't know if you saw the show last night. It was nuts. Paul went crazy. Tell them what you did last night.
I don't know. Well, I just...
you did go
I always wanted to do this, actually. Yeah. To shave my mustache off.
It was unbelievable. It was just one of those nights you went nuts and you shaved. For no reason, you shaved it off.
Yeah.
Al, roll the videotape of Paul when he went crazy last night and shaved his mustache. Sure, here, roll it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Some would say, thank you. Some would say it's a bit self-indulgent to do something like that, but not me. I always wanted to do it on the air. Are you all right?
I almost hit New Jersey. Yeah, the place went crazy when, oh, I guess we've shown that. When you shaved your mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed
What do you
it.
think of how I look now?
So anyway, oh, you look much younger.
Younger?
Yeah, we're gonna now do that. We're gonna just take you a little tour through the studio here and give you a little quiz, and we'll see if maybe you enjoy broadcasting as much as I have. Maybe some young man or young woman out there watching here tonight that in a couple of years will be right here sitting behind this desk. Or in a couple of days. Maybe we can just pull somebody off the tour and bring them in. Oh, let's get on with this. All right, here we go. Okay, now this X on the floor, this X marks the spot right there. That's where A, I'm supposed to stand, there, can you see it? I'm supposed to stand during the opening of the program. B, where I'm supposed to stand during the stupid pet tricks. Or C, where Garrick Utley once killed the guy with his bare hands. Okay, this cameraman appears cheerful because A, he's enjoying this piece of comedy. That's Bailey. That's our old friend Bailey on camera 2 there, 3 there. B, his overtime has just begun. C, he does not know that next week NBC will replace him with a robot. And then you'd be sitting up there with Eileen. She got a brand new car out of the deal, Bailey. Did you know you're on the cover of the Post? These fire extinguishers, A, have been routinely tested. B, have been thoroughly inspected. C, have been empty since the Eisenhower administration. All right, number 4, this big spiral staircase does not actually lead anywhere. Let's show that footage of you shaving your mustache again, Paul. Later in the show we'll show it, all right? It's crazy. I laugh so hard I get tears in my eyes when you did that last night.
You really thought it was great.
A, it looks nice. The big spiral staircase doesn't actually lead anywhere, but we keep it on stage because A, it looks nice. B, it provides structural support. C, in exchange for showing it every night, the company gives us all the big spiral staircases we want. It's a little broadcasting quiz for future broadcasters out there. Yeah. Now, glancing at this cue card woman during the program, A, gives me a quick reminder of joke punchlines. B, gives me hints on pronouncing names of guests. C, gives me the will to live. This woman, by the way, this woman is a very, very wealthy woman.
Her
parents are in the Brazilian baby cologne business.
Really?
That's right. They invented and market Brazilian baby cologne.
And
you go to Brazil, all those babies down there are wearing cologne, and every time a baby, after he shaves, slaps on a little, she gets quite a handsome stipend.
Wow.
The most difficult part of this NBC page's job is A, ushering guests in and out of the studio. B, keeping people in the hallway quiet. C, tackling Willard Scott when he runs in during cooking segments. She went down and got us all those clams last night. Yeah, nice job. 200 clams. Are we late? We're not late? Oh, so we can go ahead and finish then, is what you're saying? Okay. This famous actor is happy because A, his career is going well. B, he enjoys the respect of his peers. C, he doesn't work for NBC anymore. Hey, look, Michael J. Fox. These brooms and dustpans are used to A, sweep up sawdust, B, sweep up paper and scraps, C, sweep up the pony hair from Cher's wig. You better watch out. Cher might call you names. This stairway behind the band, A, adds to the urban mood of the set. B, gives definition to the studio space. C is for Paul in case he gets an unexpected visit from the immigration officials. All right, this red light tells me, A, that the camera is on. B, some equipment is malfunctioning. C, my Dave's Super Nutty, Super Chunky Apple Raisin Walnut Autumn Surprise Muffins are done. Here, look at those. There are two. Did you like them? Here, you like a muffin? Perfect. Easy. Oh! Okay. Careful, they're half-pounders. Watch it. Okay. Oh, man, I almost felt my back go out again there.
Oh, wow.
If you see this test pattern during our program, it indicates A, a technical problem, B, a test of the emergency broadcast system, C, NBC has figured out how most people actually prefer watching it to our show. Oh, okay, number 12. Our stage manager, Biff Henderson, wears this headset, A, so he can hear the director, B, so he can talk to the cameraman, C, because he likes to pretend he's an astronaut. Hey, Biff, we got muffins if you want some. Come on out and help yourself to a muffin if you want one. What? You want one? All right, sure. There you go. Anton? All right, this applause sign, see the applause sign? There it is. This applause sign was originally used for NBC radio shows. B was originally used on the old Jack Benny program. C was originally used in Arthur Kent's bedroom. My fingertips are going numb.
Yeah. I don't blame you after that.
Losing the sense of touch in my fingers.
Yeah, really. Don't blame you at all after that.
Well, oh, thank goodness we had time to get all of those in. We're going to do a commercial, and then, ladies and gentlemen, Michael J. Fox is here.
I'm trying to refer to that and make a statement about it.
That's like telling John Gotti, you know, you've been in prison. Did you know that, John? You were away. Our first guest is a likable. When people watch this man's films, they say to themselves, there is a nice guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice to have you here with us.
Nice to be here.
I saw you in the hallway before the program, and you're there with your little son.
My son Sam is there. I should say, Sam, I'm out here. See, it's okay. I'll be back in a minute.
Is he at the age now where he goes to all of your work with you? Does he go on the movie sets?
Well,
Does he travel with you and stuff?
He's my representative. He's my agent.
He's doing pretty well.
Yeah. You know, before we start, I just wanted to say, I've done this show a lot of times with you, but today I feel a real bummed because my hair just isn't working today.
Yeah, you know.
I just couldn't get
Now,
it
you know what they
together.
told me a second before I came out to do the show? They said, humidity. It's the humidity.
It's
So I don't know.
Because it's not the heat at all.
Yeah.
It's the humidity.
But yours, I would say, yours looks Michael J. Foxy-ish, as it always does.
Well, there's the rub. Yeah, that's...
No,
that's
it
the
looks fine.
problem.
Mine always looks like a really, really not very successful insurance salesman. This is what mine looks like. How old is Sam?
Sam is there. He's 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, that must be a lot of fun.
He travels around a lot with us.
Does he travel well? Is it...
Yeah, he's unbelievable. It might be in the genes because I was a military kid and I traveled around a lot.
Got the old traveling genes, huh?
Got those traveling genes, like these ones. And he, in fact, in the summertime, we had traveled around a lot this summer. We've been to Europe and Spain and Paris, and then we went back to New York, and then we went to Connecticut and all these places. And we rented a house on the beach in California, and we got there, and we dropped our bags off at the house and walked out to the beach. And all of a sudden, Sam started crying, and I said, what's the matter? He said, home, home, home. I thought, oh, this is it. You know, this is the moment, the big crisis. You know, he finally wants some stability in his life. And I said, well, where's home, Sam? And he said, there. And he pointed to the house we just rented. Like, you idiot, the one we just rented. Get me in. You know?
Any place with a door is home.
Yeah, so then I pretty much knew he was fine.
Yeah, now, but we've talked to other people about this, and I believe that it's probably the best thing to do is just take the kid with you everywhere you go. As long as you're enjoying it and he's enjoying it, fine. No
Absolutely.
problem.
And if he's not enjoying it, ultimately, you are bigger.
Yeah.
Which for me is a rare privilege.
Yeah.
You know, so I exercise it whenever I can.
Or just FedEx him home.
You know, he's working. This is true. You know, I actually had an idea about that because if you've ever taken a 2-year-old on a plane, it would be really interesting if there was some kind of just, humane
Yeah, I think we have to stress humane.
Baby X, kind of overnight, same day even. The girl with the cue cards here, Sam is working her big time in the hallway.
Well,
big time.
I want to tell you, that's been going on all day, long before Sam got
he
here.
elbowed Biff out of the way.
Yeah, now, did you take him to Japan? Did you mention you were in Japan?
No, I didn't take him to Japan because I was just there for a very brief time. It would have been Japan was really interesting. I don't know how one says this, but I'm big in Japan, I guess.
Worshipped
popular.
as a god.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's interesting. I guess I would be big in Japan anyway, just because of whatever. But but then I realized actually the Japanese people are growing. Did you know that this generation is like 9 inches taller.
You're
than
growing
the
in
last
stature,
gen-
is what you're saying.
Yeah, because they're eating so much. But anyway, I went to Japan, and Henry Kissinger was on the plane when I was going to Japan.
Now, this is interesting. You were in Japan, I'm guessing, some kind of work-related
yeah,
deal.
I was going to promote Doc Hollywood
I
in
see.
Japan.
Right. And what was Dr. Kissinger doing?
Margaret Thatcher was there, so he was going to see her, and
They're dating, I understand.
and so I talked to him a little bit on the plane, which was cool, and he was saying, well, Mikhail, that's a problem with the thing, and it was cool, he actually knows Mikhail Gorbachev and everything, and we get off the plane, and there's swarms of media there, and he gets off the plane and kind of looks up, and they push past him, and I get off the plane, and they're all around me. That wasn't so bad, but then it got really incredible when we got down through customs and all that stuff, and there were like 2,000, Japanese girls who are really interesting because on their own they're very sweet and polite and nice.
Individually, you're saying?
Individually, they are
demure,
very
kind of,
demure and very sweet, and they give you gifts. As a group, they're animals. They're Huns. And I saw Henry Kissinger try to get through this group of, I'll never forget, it's an image burned in my mind, try to get through this group of like 2,000 12-year-old Japanese girls and get hooked with an elbow in the side of the head. This guy has negotiated with world leaders for years and years, and a 12-year-old girl took him down. Wow. So I apologize to Henry if he's out there watching.
Yeah.
Very
did you on the
note or some
on the
flowers
plane flight? Did you find it really interesting company to talk to the guy, or did it just make you feel inadequate, or how was it?
No, I just spoke to him briefly a few times, which was almost enough to feel inadequate. But no, no, it was just interesting. It's really funny how you. I always find it because there's this like I'm famous, you're famous thing where somebody's well known comes up and it's like hi Mike, hi
we're in a big
whoever,
famous people club.
And I'm just like hi, I don't know you, hi, how are you? And so there's that kind of thing going, but I never get used to that. So I'm just like you're Henry Kissinger, geez.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, he's in a category, where that's the kind of guy that would really get your attention. It's not like it's David Hasselhoff or something, where I love you. I love you. I know he's okay. He's okay. He's no Henry Kissinger, but he's
Anson Williams, who is also on that list.
Yeah.
I think
and both of those guys would have made great secretaries of state. I'm not saying that they wouldn't. All right, Michael, let's do another commercial, and it closer to like 4 or 5 times or something. Once.
It felt like 4 or 5 times, but it was just once.
Yeah. Also, the subdudes, this happens right at birth. When you take a look at your child and either through a gesture or a facial expression or some kind of physical appearance.
Cheap piece of shtick.
No.
That's me.
Yeah, the child starts to remind you of yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot more now. Now that he starts to, articulate and set his agenda and stuff.
Wait a minute, the child has an agenda?
He definitely has an agenda. Yeah, he has. He's got a game plan for every situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see him. Like there's a thing that I did as a kid that I thought was such a unique thing, and I could see him doing it. One day my dad got a call from the guy at the corner store. I used to live on a military base, and the guy in the corner store said, your kid Mike is down here and he wants to buy some candy. And my dad said, all right, listen, I'll come down in a minute. What does he want? I'll buy it for him. He said, oh, you don't have to come down. He's got the money for it. My dad said, yeah. He said, he's got $375. I had my dad's wallet. I was 3 years old. So,
you would just pick his pocket and take the wallet into town?
I guess I just said, oh, there's the wallet. Great. You can go to the store with this. And I was 3 and I went. So I could see Sam doing that.
Yeah.
And happy to say he might be able to do a lot more damage than I could have at that point.
Maybe so. Yes, you bet. Now, how did Dad handle this?
Beat me severely.
No.
I'm not gonna get the people cover that way. Okay. No. I'm leaving it. No, he just was kind of cool about it. I was a weird kid, and my kid is a weird kid, and the saga continues.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing I think as a parent you would think, well, this is, we better look into this. But on the other hand, it's also sort of cute, and you got to be a little proud that he could pull this off.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it'd been different if it was a quart of whiskey he was after.
I may have done that too. No.
And then, now what are you working on?
So you take me to banks and say, so Mike, what do you think of the security in this place? You're an expert.
A hardened criminal on your hands. So Doc Hollywood was, this is like a big hit for you.
Yeah, it did really well this summer.
And are you on to another film now?
I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I've taken a year off to just hang out with my son, and it's been great.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
You and I should do like one of those buddy pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We could do the poster, be like, you nuts.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
The nuts, the nutty guys.
All right, there you go. It writes itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
You and I are in a situation, and we're being nutty.
You know, here's what it is. I got it right here. It's you and your son, of course,
right.
and you're happily married, but for some reason we never see your wife.
Right.
But you're happily married.
Yeah, very happy.
And it's me and the model, and we all travel.
I like it.
We're going across country. We rent a car and boom, like a Thelma and Louise, but with one other person and a baby.
And it could be like a pilot, kind of a backdoor pilot for ABC.
Oh, yes. Michael, it's always a pleasure to see you. And I couldn't be happier for you with your professional success and your family. I think that's just great for you. Nice to have you here. This very minute, we had clams, baked clams, 200 baked clams being delivered from the folks down at Hurley.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah, didn't know what was happening. Boom, produced. Oh, you folks should have been here. Anybody here last night for the clams? Yeah, okay. Oh, man. Hee! Are you happy to be out? Yeah! Coming up, Kevin Does there on Saturday Night Live, folks.
But she wouldn't go out with you.
No.
Was she aware that as her boss, you could have her fired?
She must have been.
All right, kids, one more lesson. These are your muscles.
Yeah, and these are your muscles on steroids.
Donald Trump's mother was mugged for $14 this week. Police are looking for this suspect.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Kevin Nealon. Let's talk here for a second about your new assignment on Saturday Night Live. You were a member of the company for 5 seasons.
Exactly.
And then Dennis Miller left, of course, to go do his own program. A friend of yours.
Yeah, very good
Yeah,
friend.
very nice man, very funny guy.
Talented, funny.
Yeah, and he had a great job. He was in charge of the Weekend Update.
Update.
Yep, and now you get to do that.
And now I am doing it.
Yeah, are you enjoying that?
Yeah, I am. It's interesting because you hear about all these different stories, and you're well informed. And we cover a lot of different stories. Some of my favorite ones were this guy who accidentally shot his mother in his backyard.
Yep, I heard about
Mistook her
that.
for a deer.
All right.
And they didn't, this is actually true, and they didn't discover the mistake until they had mounted her head on the wall.
Probably just so excited about the hunt. Yeah.
That's right. So, you know, you do cover a lot of different stories. MIT concluded from a study that more people are killed in crashes of planes with more passengers.
Ah.
For instance, a plane carrying 220 people, 220 people would be killed.
Right.
As opposed to a plane carrying 15 people, 15 people
Oh,
would be killed.
yeah. I'm beginning to see the equation.
You're starting to follow along now?
And I never thought I could get into MIT.
Yeah. What does that stand for?
Massachusetts Institute of, you know.
So there are a lot of stories. There's a London newspaper came out with a story suggesting that Christopher Columbus may have been homosexual and
that
was
right?
and was seeking a new route to Key West. you pick up on all of these stories. You know what I mean?
They may be able to prove that, huh?
Well, I don't know about that, but there's just a lot of stories. You know, I could go on and on and on.
Well, in essence, in a certain perspective, you are actually a news reporter or anchor person there, despite the fact that all of the stuff you do is funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I like doing the news because I've always felt like a newscaster. You know, I've had that kind of a good evening. You know, that kind of a...
You look like a younger brother of Tom Snyder, who is also in broadcasting. You know, you look a little like Tom, and you sound a little like Tom.
I get that a lot.
Yeah,
I get that a lot.
And are you still doing your stand-up, which is, I guess, your first love?
That's my first love. I do a lot of stand-up, and we've had some good times together. No, I do. You know, it's nice now because of the exposure on Saturday Night Live.
People love you when you go out in public.
You walk out there, and for like 10 minutes, you know, it's great. You could do anything, which is why I only do 10 minutes of my act, and I get out, you know, because you don't want to hang around. But I don't like to travel that much, and I know this sounds like a setup.
Yeah.
But
I hope to God it is.
No, this is not a setup, nor is it a joke. It was a very traumatic experience, which happened to me.
All right, I'm sorry. I'll try to get a hold of myself.
It's just like everything is a joke to Paul.
Well, he's Canadian. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, he is Canadian. But anyway, this actually happened in Canada, Montreal.
Oh, that's right. I know a little about this. Yeah, this is a great story.
I was picked up at the airport by the people, and they said that the freeways were closed. So in order to get me to the venue, they would have to take me in a helicopter.
You're performing up there at the big comedy festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they get to this little airport, and there's a helicopter that's all lit up, little helicopter, you know. And they pull me over, you know, they bring me over there, and they get me out of the car. And I didn't like the idea of flying in a helicopter to begin with. And the manager of the airport comes out, and he says, well, you know, the pilot should be here any minute. So all of a sudden, this car comes whipping around the corner, you know, and slams on the brake, and this guy gets out, glassy-eyed, you know, he's like this close to me. I could smell the whiskey on his breath. And he goes, okay, come on, let's go.
He's been drinking, you think?
I suspected that.
Yeah. Wow.
So he said, come on. I said, wait a minute. You're going to fly this thing? Yeah, come on. And I said, no, I can't fly. You've been drinking. No, they got me out of a party. It's okay. Come on.
Party. One of those Continental boys or Northwestern guys, I guess.
That's right. So I said, no, I'm not going to fly. And I usually go along with everything. You know? I came very close to going with them, you know. But I said, no, I can't do this. No, not going. So the guy I went with went and got the manager of the airport and brought him back out. And he was very apologetic. So I'm sorry, he sent the guy home. The guy, I was amazed that the guy just drove off, you know, swerving and stuff. So this other guy comes out with these bifocals on, big, thick glasses, you know? And I'm looking, I'm saying, oh, man. You know, I didn't want to make fun of his glasses.
Yeah.
So I said, how many fingers am I holding? Just joking around with the guy. And he said, 2. And I said, can you know how to fly this thing? And he goes, what thing? You know? So I was getting a little annoyed. It's scary, you know?
Yeah.
So finally, this pilot came out, and you know, he had a polo shirt on. I look like a pilot. And we get in. He makes me get in the front seat. And I hate to fly. Helicopter's the worst. So we're in there, and I hear from him. I'm strapping in my seatbelt, and I hear from him, oh, boy.
He's the pilot says that?
He says, oh, boy. I thought that's what I heard him say, you know? And he says, boy. I said, what's the matter? He says, I'm a little nervous. He said, I've never flown this particular type of helicopter before. I've flown, you know, all the helicopters work on the same principle. So I said, well, maybe I could fly it then. So I said, let me out.
Yeah.
He says, well, how are you going to get there? I said, I'll walk if I have to, you know. I was really angry.
Yeah.
And he says, no, we'll be all right. And I said, no, let me out. And that's when they came out, and they said I was on, like, a Canadian Candid camera.
Oh, it's like a spoof. The whole thing was a goof.
The whole thing was a goof.
Were you upset? Were you angry at that point?
I was so relieved I didn't have to fly in that thing, you know. I was very upset.
Yeah.
But nice guy, didn't tell him.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. Are you working this weekend or not?
No.
The weekend, I picked the day. Show's off.
Big show off.
Okay, good. Kevin, always a pleasure to have you with us.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Show so we can get to the big cast party tonight, Paul. Will you be there? Yeah. Yeah, okay, you're in. Oh, you know, it was last night at this time we were all enjoying the taste of baked clams.
Yes, I had a lovely one.
Man, were they tasty. And greasy and good. I want to thank have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.